Hi, second graders. All right, so I'm not doing an official number corner video today, but I will pop over to that really quick just so we can talk about it. I guess so I am kind of, just not two separate videos, I should say. So today is Thursday, January 14th, 2021. And our whole month has been full of different kinds of graphs and then fact families that go along with that graph, and then the number sentences for that fact family. So remember, a fact family has three numbers. Those three numbers go together, and you can make two addition number sentences and two subtraction number sentences with that fact family. So right now we're working on a picture graph that has to do with favorite school lunch. And our data shows that some students have chosen burgers and some students have chosen pizza. So the number of students who have chosen burgers is our first part, and there are 7 students who have chosen burgers. And the number of students who have chosen pizza is 12, and that's our second part. And when we add those together, it makes our whole. So today's card has our second addition number sentence, which is 12 plus equals 19. And I know that in this blank, it has to be the other part, 7, because the only 3 numbers that we can use for these number sentences right now are 19, 7, and 12. So 7 is the only number of those 3 that I don't see. So I want you to make a prediction about what will be on tomorrow's card. We have 3 of our number sentences so far. So there's only one more possible thing that could be on tomorrow's card. I know that it's going to be a subtraction number sentence. So now I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out what that subtraction sentence is going to be. This is what it was yesterday. So knowing what yesterday's subtraction number sentence looked like, that should make it easier for you to figure out tomorrow's. I also want you to think about what our next kind of graph will be. So remember, we started with a picture graph with the dogs and cats, and then we had a bar graph with shopping and spending the night, and now we have a picture graph. So based on what we know about our pattern so far, do you think the next graph is going to be a picture graph or a bar graph? It's been picture, bar, picture. And then the last thing that I want you to do for Number Corner is I want you to see if you can take the data that is on this card. So this is a picture graph. And I want you to make a bar graph using the same information. So remember, on a bar graph, you don't see a picture. You just see a shaded in or colored in bar. So can you make a bar graph using this information? All right, so now let's get back to the lesson. Let's hop over here. So you should have picked up a packet that had 5 pieces of paper stapled together. And I told you on Monday that I would like you to start each day doing one sheet. So we are on the 3rd one. It looks like this. And I just want you to take a minute to do this before going on. This is a good way to refresh your memory of the skills that we've already worked on. So I see some time here, some addition facts, some money, some bundles, and counting of these are not base 10 blocks, but the bundles are the same. So each bundle is worth 10, and then if you just see a stick, that equals 1. So that would be similar to our base 10 blocks, but they just look a little bit different. This time they're bundles of popsicle sticks. And then measuring. So again, this is not inches or centimeters. They're using tiles, but you will figure out how many tiles long the crayon is. All right, so after you do that, you are going to listen to the counting. This is also a Pear Deck, so you're going to watch this and then you're going to open the Pear Deck and do some of the interactive slides. All right, so I'm going to walk through each slide and then you will go back if you want to and complete those. Okay, so after you count, we have been talking about measuring and specifically measuring length. And there are different tools that you can use to measure length. These are the three that we talk about in second grade. So the top one right here is called a ruler, and we've talked about that, how on one side of a ruler there's inches, and that there's 12 inches in 1 foot, or one ruler, and that there's also centimeters, and centimeters are closer together than inches. But on one side of a ruler it would be centimeters, and on one side it would be inches. This one looks a lot like a ruler, but it's bigger. It's called a yardstick, and a yardstick is when you put 3 rulers together and it makes a yard. So 3 feet equals 1 yard. And then the last one that we talk about is a tape measure. Whoops. And a tape measure is the biggest, and so you would use that to measure the longest object. So let's look a little bit more. So here are some things that I would use a ruler to measure. I could use a ruler to measure a pencil. I could use a ruler to measure a chocolate bar or a sandwich or my feet. Now I want you to think for a second, what are some other things that you can think of that you would use a ruler to measure? Now they need to be the same size as a ruler or smaller. That would be the best tool. I'm thinking glue stick, maybe a DVD, maybe your video game system ruler. All right. The next one is the yardstick. So remember, that's the one where 3 rulers are put together. So a yardstick is going to be a little bit shorter than you. That's about, if you're standing and you're holding a yardstick, it's going to not be as tall as you, but close. And things that you would use a yardstick to measure are like your TV or a small bookcase or your chair. So things that are kind of like medium size. So your ruler would be like your baby bear, and your yardstick would be like your mama bear. And then last but not least, your tape measure would measure things like your couch or the slide outside on the playground, or like the basketball court, or not the basketball, like the basketball court, how long that is. So that's like your Papa Bear. Can you think of anything else that you would use a tape measure to measure? Maybe the side of your garage. All right, so now this is where the Pear Deck slides come in. So if you have opened the Pear Deck slide, you can drag your dot and practice measuring. So this says, what is the length of the screwdriver in inches? So is this 4 inches, 3 inches, or 2 inches? And you'll drag it. Okay, another one. This one's in centimeters, so that's why they're closer together. What is the length of the screwdriver in centimeters? Same screwdriver, but the answer is going to be different because this time the unit that you're measuring in is in centimeters and not inches. So it's going to be a larger number. So you can drag your dot. Okay, now sometimes you have to estimate. So I know that 1 inch is about half of my pinky. That's about an inch. Not totally, but about. So knowing that and looking at this glue, what would be a good guess? Is this glue about 5 inches? Is it 1 inch? Is it 10 inches? What would be the best estimate? And so you can drag your dot. All right, sometimes when we measure, and the in-person students have been realizing this, sometimes when you measure, your object that you're measuring is between 2 numbers. So here we have a paper clip, and here's a ruler that's in inches. And I notice that this paper clip, it doesn't stop at 1 inch, but it doesn't go all the way to 2 inches either. So when that happens, we call it a half, or it's halfway between 1 and 2. And you write that like this, the little 1 slash and the little 2. So it's gone past the 1, so I know that I have at least 1 inch, and then I add that half. So this would be 1.5 inches. So then on the next few slides, you're going to look and see, does it stop right at a number? or does it go halfway? And then you're going to practice. So let's look. So here I have a pencil, and it looks like it stops right at the 6. So this one would be 6 inches. But here I have a nail. And I notice that this nail, it doesn't stop right at the 3. It doesn't go right to the 4. It's right in the middle. And so I show that it's in the middle by writing 1/2 or 1/2. So I'm going to do that right now. You would show it by going 1/2. And it would make it, you do it littler than you do the other numbers. So the length of this nail is 3.5. All right, let's keep going. So same thing. This is a Pear Deck slide. So you'll go in, you'll look at what the length of this is and plug it in. All right. So last slide, what I want you to do on the Pear Deck, or if you haven't opened the Pear Deck and you're just following along and looking at it, I want you to think about 3 things. And in your math notebook, I want you to write or draw 3 things that are about 6 inches in length. So remember, I told you that your pinky, or half of your pinky, is about 1 inch. So knowing that, what items around your house are about 6 inches? So if you had 6, 1, 2, I should do it this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it ends up being about this big. What things in your house can you think of that are about 6 inches in length? And I want you to draw or write those 3 things. All right. When you're done going through this slide or doing the Pear Deck, there's going to be a choice board. I haven't finished that yet. Prodigy is one choice, and I'll have 3 other choices. I've put in this box right here that I want to remind you that the whole math time from start of Number Corner to end should be no longer than 45 minutes. So if you have done the Number Corner activities and watched this video and done Pear Deck and you're at 45 minutes, then you don't need to make a choice board choice. If you are at like 30 minutes, or even if the other parts of math only took you 20 minutes, I want you to spend only 10 or 15 minutes all the time making a choice board choice. So I don't want you spending an hour and a half on Prodigy, or I don't want you to spend an hour and a half doing pattern shapes. Okay, what all these choices should be is 10 to 15 minutes total. All right, so maybe you set your timer, because I know sometimes when you're playing a game, you lose track of time. So set a timer to make sure that you're only spending 10 to 15 minutes choosing a choice on the choice board. All right, have fun with math today, and I will see you tomorrow.